it's only a matter of time.
My trip from Brisbane to Mount Isa continued through Maryborough, a place steeped in history, but I wanted to find out more about its hockey past.
Well, originally, hockey was first introduced into Maryborough in 1911. It was introduced by one of the teachers at the boys' high school to the girls from the girls' high school. The girls, when they played, used any old paddock that they could get access to. The men didn't come into the association until early 1930s. Then on the 3rd of April 1932, a meeting was held by both the men and the women, and it was decided, well, we'll become a hockey association. From memory, at that stage, consisted of 4 teams, 2 men, 2 women. And even during the war years, we still played hockey continuously. Many of the fellas and women, for that matter, that played were working in industries that required that they still work and here, not go into the forces. But we had an Air Force camp established here. Out of that group, we had 2 men's teams and 1 women's team come and join the association. At the end of the war in 1945, there was, I think, 15 teams in all. After the war, they did up the grounds at Durnvilla, and it was regarded as one of the best grass surface fields that was around. And after John McBride from Maryborough, who was captain of the Australian Olympic team in Tokyo in 1964, who won the first medal ever at an Olympic Games for hockey. It was a bronze medal. We were discussing one night at a meeting that we're going to have to introduce the kids. So John thought for a little while and he said, well, I'm prepared to go around the schools and see if we can't get some kids to come and join the association. So this is what John did. He went around the schools all dressed up correctly, and the outcome of it was that we went from, I think it was just over 20 teams to 43 teams in the matter of a very short space of time. The next problem was, well, we can't play all those teams at Durnvilla. We've only got 3 fields. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to have to sell Durnvilla and buy another piece. Righto, so we hunted around the committee that was appointed, and there was a couple of pieces that were offered. The piece we've got now here at Woodstock Street was in actual fact the city dump. We then employed a company that did earth moving and all that sort of business, and we got them to make 6 grass fields. Then as we progressed, I think when we opened, I think that was 1967, I think, from memory out here, we had 50 teams in what was then and still is the March Past on opening day. Continued on a little bit further, and now we really should get a clubhouse. So the gentleman that lived next door to the grounds, he used about an acre of the land next to his house as an area where he chipped the bark off logs. So we bought the acre from him. And then, that was okay, the clubhouse was built, and from memory I think it was opened in 1969. And somebody said, well, you know, it'd be nice if we had another area where we could put up toilets and all this sort of business, instead of having to run up to the clubhouse all the time. So we bought another piece from another gentleman, and the sum total of all the land together, the 3 pieces, was 15 acres, and we built the toilets, and then later on we built a pavilion over the top of the toilets, and in that we started off by playing indoor hockey?
In 1982, we built the indoor stadium primarily for indoor hockey, which was very big back in those times, because prior to that we were travelling to Bundaberg to play on an outside concrete slab for indoor hockey. So that was the reason behind the stadium. In recent times it has gone to indoor cricket and indoor netball, and yeah, we play the indoor hockey now at the showgrounds. We're trying to get the indoor hockey back into this venue because this next generation of athletes are really keen on their indoor hockey, and it's good for their field hockey skills as well. In 1990 we had a sand-based turf laid, and then that was replaced in 2004 by the water-based turf. So our water-based turf has been named after John Hurley, who has been our patron and our president for 28 years, so it was only fitting, we felt, when we got the water-based surface laid in 2004, that in 2007 we actually named the surface after John Hurley. Over the years we've had lots of players that have made Olympic standard, and a lot of those players actually started and played their junior hockey here in Maryborough. People that come to mind are Don McQuarters, John McBride, Sharon McCarthy, Jenny Morris, Clover Maitland. So that, to name just a few, for a very small town, that's quite an accomplishment.
The total population in Maryborough is about 26,000. So far as the association is concerned, I would say we'd probably have the best part of 1,500 players.
Over the years we've diversified because we've got the stadium and the hall. We have schools come to the stadium to play their indoor cricket. We have ballroom dancing in our hall every night during the week, and we've had martial arts from time to time. So we integrate into the community by offering those sorts of services as well with our stadium and our hall. My role is as a Hockey Queensland employee, by extension through Maryborough Hockey. So I work as a development officer, recruiting players, helping coaches, running coaching programs, that type of thing. I also do the administrative side of things for the MDHA as a secretary of the association. So it's really important that we're on good terms with all of our television stations, our newspapers, our radios, and we try and keep everything up to date on our website, so that for our members and the general population that might be interested in just going to see what we've got to offer, that's all there in place for them. In the very near future, we are going to need to be replacing our water-based turf. We're just going to be replacing the mat. We're also looking at getting a grant to light up Field 2 so that some of our teams have more access to training availability, which is a big thing because we do have 80 plus teams. It's a lot to fit in for trainings.
We were lucky when we decided to go from sand-based surface to the water-based surface that we could acquire the necessary to buy and do what we had to do. If we've got to replace the surface, which we're pretty certain we have in about 12 months, well, the story might be a bit different. We'll just have to see what we can come up with. But we run different functions, like championships and all that type of thing, and up to date we've been doing particularly well. In the good old days it was a different story come to the end of the year, but I had a little talk with the Treasurer only a couple of weeks ago, and we're not doing too bad at the moment.
Also in our area, big challenge because of the lack of work around this area, it also becomes a challenge to keep our player base at a reasonable level.
Usually the kids that are very brainy are, in most cases, very good so far as sport is concerned. Okay, they get their OP1s or whatever they want. They go to Brisbane, to the university, to become whatever particular thing they're chasing. So we lose them.
My passion for hockey in Maryborough would be that we get as many children involved. It's a sport where gender is not an issue and you can play up until you're into the master's age.
Next week I travel further up the coast to find out more about the history of hockey in Queensland.
Only a matter of time.